conceptually the field is evolving. So there are many new concepts. When I started in this field 20 years ago, it was a little more clear. You knew what was prevention, resolution, post-conflict reconstruction, etc. Now there is a plethora of terms. Today, many universities across the world have master's programs, PhDs in peace and conflict, which means it's evolving more and more into a professional discipline. But with that comes then the complicated issue of kind of conceptual overload. So everybody who does a PhD, who wants to make a name for himself, will label something differently. So that's one set of challenges that we face, and this is an academic, theoretical challenge that we face. The second is a political challenge. The political challenge relates to a contestation of ideas. We're in the middle of a contestation of ideas. In the post-Cold War world, you had the triumph of liberal capitalism. So we are in the paradigm of liberal capitalism. But that was very prevalent in the last 15 years. In the last 5 years or so, it's being challenged quite strongly around the world. So you have a number of new models, the Chinese model, the countries like Brazil that has its own model, countries like South Africa that's experimenting, the Russians are coming up with it. So, you know, there's a contestation of ideas in the political space. And this field of conflict management is part of that contestation also. So what approach do we take when we are dealing with mediation, for example? So what does the liberal democratic model result in a lot of the cases is this center that colludes with multinational corporations, and the problem that we wanted to address, which is the transformation of the society by creating a broader empowered class, actually doesn't take place. And then you get into a cycle of conflict. So that's the paradigm that we have. Do we have an alternative? We don't. So those of us who say maybe this is not the way to do things, we have not presented a convincing alternative. And I think this is the challenge, and this is why we are so encouraged by the development of GSUM, because we think the Global South Unit on Mediation provides us now with a Southern partner. Now I think we must move very rapidly to ensure that we give meaning to the MOU. It shouldn't just be something that we have crafted to signify the fact that we have a consensus in our thinking, because that consensus in our thinking must be tested. We must have exchanges. So we would welcome an exchange of interns, for example. That we send people from our part of the world here, you send people there, you know, so that we then could have joint academic publications that we can do together, joint trainings. So for example, we could have trainings in Africa where we bring yourselves to share the Latin American experience, for example. And that when you are doing trainings in this part of the world, we could come and offer similar assistance here. So I think we need to have a healthy and robust exchange. Well, I think it's an exciting time for mediation. I think that, yes, we are also in the midst of a sometimes maybe a very quick response to a military intervention. And that troubles us sometimes because we think there must be better ways of dealing with conflicts. And mediation has suddenly got a lot of impetus. So we think that as we move into the future, as I said in the seminar, you know, just if you look demographically at how the world is expanding and how we are being concentrated more and more in smaller spaces, scarce resources. It means that we have to become extremely creative about how we deal with the conflicts that will present themselves in the future. So we must sharpen and hone our skills in conflict management, conflict resolution, mediation, negotiation, facilitation, the whole smorgasbord of what is there, and innovate and create even more mechanisms that will allow us to anticipate very quickly where there are conflicts and be able to respond effectively and timelessly. This is going to be the challenge for us, how to ensure that we can respond as quickly as possible.